Hello, everyone. Um, so for this video, I wanted to specifically do like an analysis of Lauren's book, Taken Abroad. Um, some might call it the New Testament of the Holy Lornography, which I think is a fitting. I think it's a fitting term because whereas the Holy Lornography, as we all know, was Lauren's conscious mind, just at a rapid pace as he's trying to you know, do that foul shit to Kayla. But this is like his unconscious mind, like flowing through like his stream of consciousness as he's writing. It's really like a look at the insight of his thoughts and behaviors and patterns for a lot of things. It's weird because it's like this amalgamation of just movie tropes and stereotypes he's probably seen from watching Hallmark movies, and then it turns into some Halloween or Friday the 13th type horror film at the very end. However, as you may notice, nothing is ever really Aaron's fault. Like he's never really like held responsible for any of the stuff that he does and anything, and everyone always feels pity for Aaron. It's like it's a constant. It's like a thematic trope in this book. It's quite perplexing. So I'm just gonna try to go through some topics from various chapters. So we hear about Aaron. He's a teenager. He's about to graduate from high school, and it's apparently after 9/11, 2001. My personal experience, I was about to be I was 7 that year when it happened. So but he would have been 17, 18 at this time. I'm gonna assume 18 because he joins the military. So let's say he's 18, and that's his first thing is he wants to join the military. It says he wants to fight for the freedom of the United States and freedom of the Iraqi citizens, which I guess is kind of a better explanation than what you normally get. Normally it says he fights for what he believes in, but you don't really hear what he believes in. So that's about as close as it gets to what he believes in. We don't hear anything about his father. You can say Aaron's like a self-insert for Lauren, but there are some differences, of course, because he's more like an idealized version, you could say. But you would think he'd say something about him having a dad or something. Like he could have like the coolest dad ever. Maybe his dad was a war hero or something, and like died in Vietnam or well, no, that's probably too old for his age in this. Maybe he's like in the Gulf War or something like that, right? Maybe he's like a hero, something of that sort, and maybe that helped inspire him to go into the military. You think that could be part of his reasoning, but you never really hear anything about it. um, right here, we start a pattern that you'll see throughout the book. That Aaron closes locker and heads to the cafeteria, grabs a slice of pizza, 2 cookies, and a can of Pepsi. So you often hear a lot more about the food than anything else. Like we do not have a description of what Aaron even looks like. And I have this I kind of have this theory because you don't know what his hairstyle he has, the color of his eyes, his skin tone, his ethnicity. He can literally be anybody. Like you don't really know. I mean, he's just kind of I guess supposed to put the guy on the cover as like the default Aaron or assume Lauren is, but he really leaves it open to interpretation. So he's just kind of like this faceless dude. Um, but the way he acts, like all he does is eat and sleep. It makes me think he's like a Snorlax or some shit. Like, um, even when he's trying to kill people, he passes out a couple times and he tries to kill people. Um, when he tried to kill Amber and when he tried to kill Brooke, he passed out multiple times trying to kill them. I mean, okay, I guess granted he got stabbed both times, but it's like he just like falls asleep and they walk away and he comes back at them. So it's got that kind of gives me the Snorlax vibes there. Yeah, it's interesting right here. His best friend is Derek. um, so that's kind of something because Derek was his arch nemesis because he was the one dating Kayla and he wanted competition with his my baby girl. So there's that. It's right here too. It's probably the best described character we have in the entire book. This character we see for like a paragraph's worth of a paragraph's worth of time. Helen. So let's see. This what's the description here? When he walked through the door, he looked to the left. At the, he looked to the left at the secretary behind the desk. Her name tag read Helen in small black letters with a brass-colored background. It was pinned to her suit jacket just above her left breast. She is an older woman, probably in her late 40s or early 50s, a little on the heavy side, with brown curly hair that came down to her shoulders, and wore wide rimmed glasses with the gold chain that dangled from the sides of her glasses and wrapped around the back of her neck. She had a mother's air about him and greeted him with a warm, welcoming smile. So that's kind of like the most description of any character you really get in this entire book. And this is about this is about as much as you see of this character, She asks if she could help him and what's his name. And finds him in the book. And that's pretty much it. But she has the most description of anybody. Like with that, you can actually paint a mental image of the character. And to be honest, she kind of sounds like a few porn stars that have been favorites of mine since like I was around this age. So it's something I could kind of vibe with a little bit. Like that's more information than pretty much anyone else will see throughout this book. And then we have Sergeant Watkins, which is, I mean, he's a named character, which is weird because there's not very many characters that have names, or like their name. As you will see, their names will change. But here's another thing too: a mother's air about her. Everyone in this book babies Aaron. He's a random woman, and he sees her like a mother figure. It's something we'll get into as we go through other chapters as well. But yeah, that's a few of the peculiar things we see over here. I mean, also Aaron has a thing for staring at clocks. He's always staring at the clock. He's just like so determined. He's very one track minded. Like he's just like, I must talk to the recruiter. I must go to the recruiter's office, talk to the recruiter, be about recruiting in the army. Like that's all you hear about. you know, it's kind of crazy. Like some people. I'm not sure. I can't speak really much about it. I wasn't in the military. I didn't want to join the military. Um, so I never did that. I knew some people who did. Um, Ironically, this kind of fucked up, but one of my friends, it's actually his birthday today, and he's in the military, and he died um, a few years back because one of his um, someone he's like roommates with once he got out of the service, who was also in the military, went insane and stabbed him to death. So that it's kind of weird that before I did this started this video, I got a notification that it was his birthday. I was like, oh shit, dude. So I remember he got murdered by someone he was in the service with. This he kind of lost it, and I mean, I guess it's similar enough to the subject matter that we're going on over here, but it was yeah, it's a weird coincidence, I'll say. But yeah, so there's that. Chapter two, really short, not much going on, but it also shows some of his mindset too, right? So he realizes that he has to go through training, and he doesn't like the idea of having to have discipline. He doesn't like the idea that he has to wake up early and he has to do work, and that someone else is gonna have authority over him. So it's kind of like, dude, if you didn't like that, why did you join the military? I don't like that, so I didn't join the military. I got a job. I mean, it is what it is. I got a job and I went to school. Um, I did that for a few years, and I mean, not just work, but for a few years, I went to college. I worked a full time job as well. Uh, you know, it's just something you have to deal with. It's just only gonna get worse the older you get, unless you, like, own your own business. But even at that, like, you can't tell the customer to go fuck themselves unless you don't want any business. Like, so I don't know what Aaron's thinking there. Is really stupid. He cries to his mom. His mom's sad. Well, oh honey, oh I missed you so much. Yeah, and so forth. And he comes home for a couple weeks. When he does, he looks down upon his friends. It's like right here. Let's see. He had a good visit when he went home for 2 weeks, but knew he made the right decision by joining the army. We had seen some of his friends still hanging around home and working at dead end jobs, going nowhere with their lives. It made him feel good that he was doing was so important to many lives. So he's being kind of a dick, dude. Like, he's looking down upon his friends because, I mean, if you think about it too, they're like 18 or 19 at this time. So they're just out of high school, just barely starting their lives. He calls it a dead end job, but in reality, it's probably their first job. It's probably like a stepping stone type job. Like, it's not everybody, like, because you have to get permits. I'm not. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm from California. Where I was from, you had to get a permit from your school that would allow you to work at a job, and the job would have to agree to that permit. And you could only work a few hours at the nighttime, and that was it. Yeah, I think you only do it on weekdays. I think you might be able to work on weekends, but, like, is very strict. If you're like 16 or 17, basing until you're 18, like, is very strict limitations on it. So Aaron's being an asshole because his friends are working basically a stepping stone job to get themselves somewhere better in life, right? So I don't know. I just found that kind of peculiar. He talks about how everything he's doing is so important, but when you hear about his military service, he's not on the front lines. He's not fighting like terrorists and stuff like you would think. He's just kind of like he's like directing traffic and stuff like that. Very mundane things. Um, so yeah, that's something fascinating part. Chapter two. Uh, so chapter three, he's being kind of a crybaby. Um, he's in the plane. Apparently, it's raining. He's just like he's just whining about everything. He's doesn't like being in the plane, and it's also unrealistic and stuff too because I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of figure in the military you're supposed to be kind of hardened and a toughened individual, You can't just be like crying all the time and then like people just like, accommodate. It's not a place where you're gonna be accommodated, then is what I'm saying. But his staff sergeant um like comforts him when he's feeling uncomfortable, gives him like a thumbs up and stuff. And he smiles back at him or some shit. And that's another thing. Why is everyone a staff sergeant? Is that the only like um title that Lauren knows about? I mean, you don't hear anyone being a private or a general or a lieutenant or a corporal or whatever. Everyone's a staff sergeant. So that's just something that kind of is peculiar to me. Oh, right here we got Staff Sergeant Paul Pablo, which his name eventually changes to Paul Pablo. So which one is it? Is it Pablo or Pablo? Because you know, I don't think it was a typo because it was happened so many times over. But so he's got Paul, and a lot of people talk about this relationship he has with Paul. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Everyone talks about his relationship with Paul, and they say it's very homoerotic. And to a degree, it is like unintentionally homoerotic. I don't know if Lauren realized it's just like, you know, it seems a little weird that, they're always like kind of slapping ass and stuff. But in my opinion, more so than being homoerotic, Paul is like another mother figure for Aaron. He's like his mom away from mom. So far, that brings 3 different mothers that he has. Because he saw the secretary like a mom. He has his own biological mother. And then you got Paul, who basically babies him. You know, it's very strange. Oh, here's here's another thing. This paragraph here. All right. Aaron quickly slammed on the brakes when the man ran out in front of the Humvee and stood there blocking its path. He couldn't figure out why the man wanted to run out in front of a moving vehicle, especially one as large as a Humvee. Aaron sat there and looked at the man for what felt like 20 minutes, but in reality, it was nothing but mere seconds. The man had short black hair with a long beard, an athletic build, and was about 5 feet 9 inches tall, wearing torn brown pants and a white long sleeved shirt. Aaron looked over at Paul, and he suddenly realized that this guy was a suicide bomber. All 4 men in the Humvee ducked down just in time as the man on the road blew himself into pieces. After explosion, all 4 men sat up and looked at each other with a sigh of relief they're still alive. So, okay, there's a few things here. One, the suicide bomber actually has a description, which, again, he's got more of a description than Aaron does. So there is that. Additionally, why did he blow himself up? Why did he run in front of an armored vehicle and not even be close enough to the armored vehicle to even damage it, and then just blow himself up? Like, was it just for shock value or something? Because if he blew himself up in front of the vehicle, it probably damaged the vehicle, but I don't know if it'd be enough to blow up the vehicle and everyone inside. But we're talking about like an armored military vehicle. It's just not like a standard car. Standard car, yeah, it probably do that, but I don't think like an armored Humvee, as they keep saying, would take that much damage. So it's like he just ran out in front of him. They stopped the car to not run him over. He just kind of look at each other, and then he blows himself up. Like, I don't know what the purpose of that is. I guess this guy just wanted to fuck up Aaron's mind or something. Because I mean, I guess it helps do it. Yeah. Here's another thing. He was never bored, but always wished he could be in a little more of the action. Do you think we'll ever see more of the action than we're seeing here, Paul? Aaron asked. Yes, I do, Paul replied. And from what I've been hearing, it's not going to be long before we do. Aaron gave Paul a stunned but enthusiastic look after his comment. What have you heard? As he asked, leaning close to make sure he didn't miss a word of what Paul was about to tell him. Well, from what Staff Sergeant Buchanan was telling me, the Marines are pushing a group of insurgents towards the outskirts of Mosul. We have to help corner them. We're going to be right in the middle of the action, repair any vehicles that break down, and are expected to fight if necessary. So we have to go in with our weapons, ready to fire. When is all this supposed to happen? Aaron asked with anxiousness. Within the week, Paul replied with a slight grin, knowing how much Aaron wanted to be in the fighting. And it goes on from there, right? So Aaron's like, despite the fact that he's like crying and like so stunned by the sight of violence and gore when he sees someone killing themselves. Um, and I think this might be is this after they found the guy that was already killed as a hostage? This might be before that. I think this might be before that, but like you know, he wants to basically put himself in danger. Like he does realize that it's not like a one-sided we have weapons, they don't type of battle. Like he's liable to get killed or whatever, possibly hurt if he's not killed. And yet he's just like I don't know. the way the way Aaron acts, he kind of acts like he's some like little kid who's playing Call of Duty or something, and he thinks that war is like Call of Duty. That if he gets shot, he's just gonna respawn and like shoot someone back. Like it's like he doesn't really grasp the gravity of the situation and the consequences that could happen. So there's that. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this was before the taxi driver. It's like when they find the taxi driver. Okay, here's another thing. So this is like one of the few times that there's supposed to be like an actual firefight happening here. And let's see. They're shooting from between those two buildings over there, Paul shouted as he pointed to the buildings across the street. Aaron, go behind the concrete barrier on the right side of the police station to shoot. Baker, you go to the concrete barrier on the left side of the police station to shoot. Me and Gentry will stay here and shoot from both sides of the Humvee, Paul ordered. Okay. I was thinking if you're like if you're in a firefight, um, you're in a life or death situation like this right here. Wouldn't you have like codes, like hand signals, like maybe you point left, the point right, or just be like, Aaron, go left, Baker, go right, or whatever. I think that's what he said. Yeah, Baker and him and Gentry stay in the center. So if if you've got one guy two guys on the left and two guys on the right, wouldn't you just say, hey, go left, go right? Why did you go and say go behind the concrete barrier on the right side of the police station and shoot? Like, who who talks like that for one? And that's like way too much talking for you're in a dangerous situation. Why should you be spending that much time discussing it? You'd see that there's a concrete barrier there, and you just run to the side of the concrete barrier. You don't have to say go to the side of the police station by the concrete barrier, take cover, pull out your weapon, aim the weapon, get pull back the safety, and pull the trigger to shoot at the enemy. like he says it to everybody. Like, I don't fucking get what Lauren's trying to put here. He puts like all the detail in the wrong places. As a writer, it's show not tell, right? You should show through the text rather than say through the text. They can give like a good description of somebody or their actions, and other stuff isn't that necessary, right? But for Lauren, it's like the opposite. The things that are like, stuff that would be the most like interesting or entertaining parts, he skips over in very brief and very mundane, unnecessary information. Like maybe like the exact time of day or what the clock said or what type of food he had and what was about the food. He's like in very specific details. Like when he talks about his car in the beginning of the book, he doesn't just describe the car, but he has to say, "Oh yeah, he had a radio that was installed by the local garage in his hometown or something like that." I was like, "What was the point of saying that? Like, are you just saying that he supports local business? I don't fucking get it. Like, it's just like unnecessary information." Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's about 1 o'clock a.m. and Aaron had finally drifted off to sleep. He's having trouble all night as he tossed and turned and finally woke up about 4 o'clock a.m. in a cold sweat from the nightmare he had been having. He lay there deep in thought and motionless as a tear rolled down his cheek. It took another hour before he fell back asleep. It was 8 a.m. when he finally woke up. He was late for work, but Paul left him on the bed, explained to him that he knew that he had a hard time sleeping and didn't wake him up for work because he knew he needed the rest. You tossed and turned all night last night. Get showered and dressed and come into work when you wake up to know, right? Like, okay, that's very unrealistic. Like, I'm pretty sure in the military and stuff, especially if you have a job to do, you're not gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you didn't get enough sleep last night, so I'm gonna let you sleep in and relax a bit." Like, no, you have times and deadlines. You have to do stuff, and you gotta get it done. I don't think they're gonna make like it's like they keep making exceptions for everything for this guy. It's just kind of like I don't get it. He's just like very clumsy. He doesn't ever pay attention. It's like all this stuff going on. Yeah, this part was weird too because they bring in Jerry Bowler, and he's in their Humvee. An explosion happens. No one gets hurt in the explosion except Jerry Bowler. And apparently his eardrums get blown out from the explosion and he becomes deaf. And it doesn't make sense because why would he become deaf but no one else does? Like, what kind of shit is this, dude? They take him to the hospital and everything. It's just another thing that doesn't make any fucking sense. Then go into chapter 4. Oh, here we go. Here's some of that famous banter. Let's see. Aaron rolled over and woke up to Paul shaking him. Get up, blazing bones. It's time to go to work. Slowly but surely, Aaron was able to get enough energy to sit up in his bed. What time is it? He asked. It's 7 o'clock a.m. Time to start the day, Paul replied. Aaron threw the blankets off and crawled down from his bunk. Paul was already dressed in his uniform and was brushing his teeth. You get up kind of early, didn't you? Aaron asked his friend. Yep, we have to be at the Iraqi police station at 8 o'clock this morning, so you need to step on it, Paul replied. Why do we have to be there so early? Because after direct traffic today, it is expected to be a bit heavier this morning because of new troops coming through. That would figure, Aaron said jokingly. Leave it to you to mess up my much-needed rest. Paul pat Aaron on the back replied, I wouldn't do it if I didn't care. Like, what the fuck is this shit, dude? Like, you're waking up early. It's like, yeah, no shit, you're getting up early. You have tasks to do in the military. And then, I don't know, it seems weird that they're just directing traffic and not really doing much of anything else. But, also, he's like, oh, the way to disturb my much needed rest. Like, dude, like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't think any of your other crewmates are getting any rest. Like, they have to go fight and do work too. Then they have their they have their band. Like I said, this is basically Paul being Aaron's mother. He lets him sleep in. He has banter with him. He puts up with his bullshit. Is always making sure he's okay because every time Aaron sees something like traumatic, he freaks out. Maybe he's not mentally fit to be in the military. You're gonna see like there's horrors of war for a reason, but he can't handle any of them. Like, you probably shouldn't be in the military if your mental constitution isn't that high. Like, it's a bad idea, dude. But apparently he never got psychiatrically evaluated before he joined the military. Oh, this part right here when he gets shot. It's 2 o'clock. Aaron came out of the police station, walked to the Humvee, and stood waiting for Paul to join him for the afternoon break. Paul saw Aaron and signaled to him where he'd be right with him. Aaron waved back to him and opened the door of the Humvee when he heard a gunshot. He quickly turned around and looked at his friend. Paul stood there with his hand above his heart and to the left. He looked up at Aaron, stumbled 2 steps toward him in the road, and then collapsed. Paul! Aaron shouted. Aaron paid no heed to the 2 gunshots that were fired at him as he ran towards the injured friend. When he reached Paul, he bent over and helped his friend to his feet and helped him get to the car that had been abandoned in the middle of the street after hearing the gunfire. He helped Paul prop his back against the car as he sat him on the ground and lifted his M16 rifle from his shoulder and looked at the direction that the shots had come from. I can't tell exactly where shots came from, Aaron told Paul as he looked around frantically. I'm going to shoot just above the building to scare the sniper. If I'm lucky, he'll shoot again. I'll spot him. Hurry up and shoot then, Paul. Aaron took aim just above the building he suspected shots fired from. He waited a couple seconds that felt to Paul like hours. There's no return fire. The sniper had disappeared. Aaron turned his attention to his friend. Aaron, Paul stuttered. Yes, Paul, I'm here. He replied, I'm not feeling so well right now. Hang in there, Paul. The ambulance is on its way. You're going to be fine. And, it continues from there. But, if I'm not mistaken, a sniper rifle could shoot through a car. Like, I'm pretty sure if it's shot by his heart, it would like just fucking instantly kill him. Like right there. I didn't say he didn't. Like, why is Aaron? The first thing he should have done is radio the ambulance as soon as he went over to see Paul, and drag him over to safety. Why is he dicking around, pulling his rifle out, trying to find them to shoot back, and just wasting a bunch of time? It's critical time needed to save his friend. You know. And right here, even Lauren fucking acknowledges this. They say Aaron beats himself up with what if questions. What if I would just kept running once I had him on his feet after I helped him from being shot? What if I had called in for the ambulance before running out to help him to safety? What if I'd been paying more attention at the time of the surroundings? Why wasn't I paying more attention to the surroundings? Why wasn't we wearing a bulletproof gear? He would be alive right now if we had a bulletproof gear on. You know? It's so stupid. Because, you know, okay, to be granted, Paul not wearing his bulletproof vest or helmet isn't really Aaron's fault, especially if he left before Aaron did. You know, he should have wore his armor and stuff if he knows he's gonna be in the combat zone. Same goes for Aaron. They should have both been wearing their you know, protective armor. However, it's also like you know, why the fuck how do I put it? You know, why the fuck, for example, he says, why wasn't I paying attention to at the time of my surroundings? That's a good question. Why would you not be? If you know, like, there's apparently like terrorists blowing themselves up everywhere, why would you not be like on high alert and, you know, be cautious of where you're going? You don't want to be, you know, killed. So I don't know what the point of that was. And then right here we have Sergeant Buchanan. He talks with Aaron. Aaron, Buchanan spoke. Please have a seat. So I guess Buchanan is Chris Hansen and Aaron is Lauren. He's making him take a seat. You know, Buchanan talks to him and basically tells him, "Oh yeah, I've gone through the same type of stuff you have. So I understand how it feels. Take a couple days off because I know you're going through it right now." But here's another thing that's really irritating. He tells Aaron that they have notified Paul's family and to please you know, pack up his stuff, his belongings, so they can ship them to his family. So Aaron, when he does that, he takes one of Paul's photographs and takes it for himself. One asshole thing to do, Aaron. I'm pretty sure his family would like that photograph. And then he takes Paul's bed and sleeps. Like, that's such a weird thing. Like, your friend dies and he sleep in his bed. Like, it's like dramatic, but it's also like it doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid. And then right here, let's see. Okay, right here. He began having a hard time focusing on his job, but no longer felt anything when he killed or had witnessed someone else be killed, including those from his own unit. So, like, how many people has Aaron killed? There's no description of him fighting or anything. Before this whole situation happened, he kind of just seemed like a bumbling fool who just keeps getting caught up in all these situations. Like he's just like some guy who's like walking around seeing everyone else get killed and is freaking out because of like the horrible way he's seeing people getting killed. But it's one sentence that is not elaborated on at any time. It talks about him like killing people and stuff while he's in the military. You know, how many terrorists did he kill? What happened? What were the situations? Were they in fights? Like, did he assassinate people? What's going on here? There's like no hint towards any of this. And then apparently someone like hit some kids with a rocket launcher, and it made him freak out in a very stereotypical movie fashion. He sees them blow up, and he goes running after them while screaming, "No!" Like, so that happens, and he winds up being in a psychiatric ward. So apparently, he spent like 3 months there. Probably, I like to envision that he's like in a padded cell, and I'd probably give him like shock therapy and a lobotomy and like fucking waterboarding Aaron and shit. But nothing seems to work. Like they're using like the most archaic like mental institution torture tactics on him. But then he's just like, he kind of has like a little sad story. I need to start my life over again and stuff, but I don't want to leave because I felt like I have unfinished business here. Yada yada. He sees mom again. Where is it? There's another thing too, his mom's talking to him. It just says like, "I painted your room blue with red and white border paper. Um, had old brown carpet, replaced a light blue one." So she kind of like made his room like an American flag, and I mean that's kind of, I mean, something wrong with the flag or anything like that. It's good to be patriotic, but it's like Aaron went through all this because he tried to be like super patriotic and like zealous. Like, he basically came in like this naive kid, knowing nothing about how dangerous war was, but just wanted to be patriotic, and then like going through like mental torture because of it. And you might think seeing the flag that he always had like on his uniform and stuff when he's in the service or whatever, that it might help enhance his PTSD because it remind him of being in the field. So I don't think that's exactly a good idea. Um, for his mom to have that. Like I said, nothing about the flag, but it's just the fact that you have it on your uniform and on your vehicles and stuff. You think it might remind you of being out in the field fighting, terrorists or whatever. Get that Taliban out of our fucking lives. And then got this big sign that says "Welcome home, Aaron," with big red and blue letters on a white background. So there's another thing right there, and a whole thing. "No, Aaron, I'm the one that should be thanking you," she said with a serious tone in her voice. "For what?" he asked. "For being born," she replied. Like, what? Who? No one says that shit. It's so corny, and even so, you think someone would say it like in a reverse circumstance, be like, "Hey, mom, thanks for not aborting me," or some shit like that. Hey, life ain't all that bad. Thank you for not killing me before I was born, or some shit. Like, you think that's maybe how the conversation would go. But I'm pretty sure your mom is not going to be like, "Oh yeah, thank you for being born." Like, my mom, like 20, almost 28 years later, keeps reminding me, "Oh yeah, I had suffered for all this time trying to drop you out and stuff." I'm like, "Okay, thanks for reminding me how much of a burden I was on your existence." But that's basically very weird, corny, and unrealistic. Um, Then everyone yelling surprise. Starling, it even says that he started having flashbacks and insurgent attacks, and he's trying not to freak out because they, basically made loud noises and stuff. Like, why would you do that to someone who just came out of the military? That's just not smart. Let's talk about the food right here because this is what we're going to get to the good parts here. His mother had all kinds of food sat on the table and counter, most of which was favorites of his that his mother made special. There was chicken pie, butterscotch Rice Krispie squares, Reese's peanut butter squares. First off, they're peanut butter cups. Why is this square? Explain that to me. Vanilla cream puffs, apple pies, chocolate cake, mashed potatoes mixed with corn and ham cubes. You know how disgusting that sounds? Oh my god. Spare ribs with Mountain Dew, punch, and water to wash it all down with. I can imagine his spare ribs are pretty gross too, because they're probably not barbecued. They're probably like boiled or some shit. Like, I can only imagine. And Mountain Dew, like, why? Out of all the soda you could have, like, I would want Mr. Pibb. I'd say like Mr. Pibb or like mug root beer, maybe Coke, or Sprite. Sprite's good, but Mountain Dew. And what kind of punch is this? Like, come on, Aaron gives a better explanation of punch. Water, like, I mean, water. It's always gonna have water, but like, what kind of water is it, Aaron? Are we talking about like, like Fiji or Evian, or in his case, it's probably like swamp tap water. um, but yeah, that's just like how many dessert items? It's mostly dessert items too. Crispy squares, Reese's peanut butter cups, vanilla cream puffs, apple pies, chocolate cake. That's like five different. It's like five different desserts. There's one chicken pie, and then there's what is it? Spare ribs. I guess that's like the main course, and you got the mashed potatoes. That's like a side dish. But that's weird, dude. Five different desserts. His mom lets them sleep in super late, of course. It's like the one time you actually hear anything about his friendship with Paul that he remembers playing basketball with him. Um, you know, there's just it's all this weird stuff too. Oh, right here, this corny part right here. When morning finally showed up from the window, Aaron stumbled into the kitchen with his eyes still half closed. Good morning, good morning. His mother said in a gentle voice. Good morning, he returned. By looks of you should go back to bed for another 8 hours, she said, as she set a fresh, hot cup of coffee on the placemat in front of him. Thank you. I didn't sleep too well last night, he replied. If I stay up all day, I'll be able to sleep better tonight. Would you like for me to stop by the drugstore and get you something that'll be asleep tonight? She asked. No, that won't be necessary. Thank you anyway, Mom, he answered after taking his first sip of the hot coffee. So this is like our main character here in the book too, is Coffee. Um, Coffee gets mentioned so many times in this book. It's always like Aaron being made breakfast and coffee every morning. And it's got more, like I said, it's got more description than he does as a character. You hear about the coffee, you hear about the temperature of the coffee, the taste of it, how it's being made. There's even one part where it's like, oh, he left his coffee sitting for too long, so it started to get cold and stuff. That's more information than we know about our main character. It's fucking weird. So yeah, he's being babied by his mom. It's just kind of a lot of crying about what he's been through. I guess decided to make pizza. Yeah, that's kind of it's not that often that he has pizza. But yeah, I guess he helps his mom make the pizza, which is surprising because he usually doesn't help with anything. He even talks about how his cooking is famously terrible later. Um, let's see. Oh, Aaron woke up to the smell of bacon, eggs, and biscuits flowing across his nose. He pulled some pants and threw his shirt on, groggily slid into his slippers. He stumbled clumsily down the hall into the kitchen toward the coffee pot. After pouring himself a cup of coffee and spilling a quarter of it on the counter, he toned into his mother as she spoke. "You're not the most graceful person in the morning, are you?" she said sarcastically. Aaron groaned as he fumbled with ripping off a couple sheets of paper towels to sop up the mess from the overfilling his coffee cup. Even like that is like that's like such a run-on sentence. You could have said Aaron groaned as he fumbled and ripping off um, sheets of paper towels to clean the mess, clean up the mess he made, or something like that. You don't have to repeat the fact that he overfilled his coffee cup because he already said that just a sentence or two before that. It's very redundant. I definitely had mornings where I've conjured up more coordination than what I have this morning. Tori, like, okay, I don't really know anyone who talks like that. He threw the coffee soaked paper towels in the trash, added some cream and sugar to his coffee, and shuffled his feet lazily to the kitchen table. With his coffee in hand, his mother set up a plate in front of him, filled with 4 strips of bacon, 3 sunny-side-up eggs, 1 steaming biscuit that was just pulled from the oven, along with a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. Or so it said on the carton. It didn't take him long to devour the food and down his orange juice. Once he finished eating, he began pouring his wake up juice back into himself. Aha! He used a synonym for coffee. He used wake up juice instead of just saying coffee again. So that's a little bit different. Um, like I said, he's enjoying breakfast again. I like how he says that it's freshly squeezed orange juice, or so it said on the card, meaning that it's basically like concentrate, I guess. He's got like some like shitty Minute Maid or something. Like, it's probably gets a better OJ than that, bro. Um, hey, how you doing, Kelp? Um, thanks for tuning in. Just going through some of the some of the inconsistencies we got here on taking abroad. So we're gonna have a lot of discussion about coffee and breakfast. So strap in and get ready to get ready to have some like bacon and eggs, whatever. Let's see. He's gonna see Derek. So that's like one of the few times he actually does hang out with Derek over here. Let's see. He goes to get a shower and then describes him taking the shower. Oh wait, let's see. After getting dressed, he poured himself another cup of coffee. There we go again. He's poured himself another cup. Wait, this is the same day too, I think, because so he's already had 2 cups. Just with his breakfast, took a shower, and had a third cup. That's probably like 3 cups in an hour. And so he went to go see Derek. He sees Derek peeling potatoes for his mom. He greets his longtime friend. "Hey, Aaron, I heard you were back." Derek stated, "Oh shit, I got it backwards." I always kind of imagine Derek talking more with a Sonichu type voice. "Hey, Aaron, I heard you're back," Derek said as he set the potato peeler and reached out to shake Aaron's hand. "Yeah, I just got back 2 days ago," Aaron replied. "How have you been doing, Derek?" "Good. Come up on the porch. I'll get another peeler and can help me peel these potatoes while we talk." "All right," Aaron said with a slight smile, knowing Derek just wanted someone to help him so he could get finished with them quicker. Aaron sat down in the chair across from the one that Derek had occupied, and when he arrived, and when Derek returned a second peeler and a couple glasses filled with ice and Coke, he asked, "You must be happy to finally be home, huh?" Oh shit, there's a quote there. "You must be happy to finally be home, huh?" Let's see, that's a little bit different right here. This is fixed up in a little bit of a different way. He's got Coke, ice cold Coke, because it seems like Lauren likes drinking hot things, and that's just really nasty if you ask me. I don't fuck with hot drinks. That's like drinking like medicine to me. You know, I like my coffee cold, and just like I like my water and my cola and my beer cold too. Like, who the fuck likes hot drinks? Even when it's hot, I mean, even when it's cold, I don't want a hot drink, dude. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I like hot. I like my food hot and my drinks cold. But Aaron's like, Lauren's like the other way around. He likes eating like these fucking nasty ass bologna sandwiches and like boiling hot coffee, or if you could call it that, it's fucking instant Folgers. Let's see, he calls he calls asking about Paul's burial. And let's see. It talks about the Hold songs. He gives more description to the Hold songs than he does for the main character of the book. So there's that. Um, I mean, he gave a name too to the receptionist, Valerie. It's kind of more details than he gives for most of the characters. Most people don't have a name. And then we go to Paul Pablo right here, Paul Pablo. Even though he's called Paul Pablo for like 2 chapters. So what is it? What is his real name? Uh, oh, right here. This is you like coffee and tea hot. I mean, that's all right, I guess, but I don't know. For me, it feels like medicine. Like, only way I'll drink a hot tea is like if I have a really sore throat and I'm drinking like some like ginger lemon tea or whatever. And I mean it helps, but it tastes awful. Like I can't, I don't drink it for fun. It just makes me think of like medicinal type stuff. When I have a cold drink, it has to be really cold with ice. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's weird. I have a cousin who drinks everything hot. It's gross. Like, he drinks like lukewarm water and hot soda. I'm like, ugh. Like, he'll just drink a room temperature Coke. I'm like, dude, why? I it's just, I don't get it. He's like, I like it room temperature. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I could drink water room temperature, but ice cold water just feels way more refreshing and like crisp. But I don't get it. He provides details on things that don't matter. Yeah, exactly. Everything. It's like, let me tell you about the position on the clock and how Aaron is staring at the clock. Oh yeah, and no details on the things that matter. Yeah, I was going about that earlier when he's talking about like the firefight and the war and stuff. Like, it's like a one sentence brief overview. He says something like Aaron lost the ability to feel for when he killed or when saw someone getting killed. It's like, wait a second, you didn't talk about him killing anybody at all at this point, and you just barely mentioned it. It's like, well, what happened? Like, if you were just skimming through and you weren't paying attention all the way, you wouldn't even know that Aaron was like actually killing people and stuff. You would just think he's like some like guy walking around seeing everyone he knows get killed and losing his mind because of it. Like, it's so weird. Or there's this one part. Let me see. I think it's chapter 3. When they're getting shot at. Where is here? Oh, there's chapter 3. So where's the part? Okay, this Paul right here. They're shooting from between those 2 buildings over there. Paul shouted his pals, pointed to the buildings across the street. Aaron, go behind the concrete barrier on the right side of the police station and shoot. Baker, you go to the concrete barrier on the left side of the police station and shoot. Me and Gentry will stay here and shoot from both sides of the Humvee. Paul ordered. So I'm like, if you're like
of in a war and people are like trying to kill you and they're shooting at you, like why would you like you just be like Aaron go left, Baker go right. Well, we're going center or something like that, right? You know, they can see that there's cover there, that there's a cover they could get behind and shoot from. But instead, the way Wayne Warren writes, he's like, Aaron, get behind get behind the concrete barrier and take cover. Then pull out your M16 rifle. Turn off the safety. Make sure it's reloaded. It's loaded with ammunition. Aim the M16 rifle at the enemy and pull the trigger to fire at the enemy. Like, why? Why is it so redundant and so like specific for certain things like that? But we don't even know what Aaron even looks like. And then let's see, he's going through stuff. Oh, this is like yeah, exactly, Kelp. Oh wait, this I think we already looked at this part. Yeah, I think we already did. Talks about being tired and make food. Um Here we go. We're with Derek. He's chilling with Derek. He talked to Valerie about Paul. See, wrote down the information. Went to Paul's funeral. I guess this. Hello. Hi, Mrs. Johnson. This is Derek. Is Aaron there? He asked. Yes, he is. She answered. Hold on 1 second. She handed the phone over to Aaron. It's Derek. She informed him. Hey, Derek, what's up? Aaron asked his old high school friend. Just wait till it gets to the sex scene. Oh yeah, that's my favorite part. I had to put like some Ron Jeremy music when I read it. When I read it for it, that was that was quite a blast. Talks about their blind date. Oh yeah, the word core, like it's so weird. Why do they say core? When I hear core, I think of like a core muscles, like like or when they talk about like a core strength that you'd have like in your abdomen and stuff. Uh, he used like core for her vagina, and then he said like her wet center. So that was another way of putting it. Let me stick it in your wet center. It's like a Tootsie Pop. There's a Tootsie Roll in the center. How many licks does it take to get to it? Let's see, they had the really corny blind date thing. How you doing, Aaron? Derek asked. Good, a little nervous. I'm not too big on blind dates, he told his friend with a friendly chuckle. Well, you'll be happy to know that Brooke doesn't like blind dates either, Derek informed him. Aaron muttered. Two people that don't like blind dates. Sounds like a match, huh? He said with a hint of sarcasm in his voice. Yeah, Derek laughed. It was Amy's idea. Oh, sure. Blame it on the girlfriend. Aaron joked. Like, this is like some fucking Hallmark shit, dude. Like, you really see the Hallmark brain in Lauren as he writes this. Um, wait. Oh wait, I passed up the part. Okay, this is what gets me right here though. He still had about 30 minutes before, yeah, let's see. This is the right part, right? He still had about 30 minutes before Derek was supposed to arrive. So he made himself a couple of hot dogs, brushed his teeth, then munched on some popcorn while he watched television until Derek showed up. First off, why are you eating all that food? But second, why do you brush your teeth after eating hot dogs and start eating popcorn? Won't you brush your teeth after you ate like all of it? Like, does he drink orange juice after he brushes his teeth also? And I mean, the fact that he ate two glizzies is pretty nasty enough because that shit's pretty gross. The popcorn is just hella weird. But he basically had a whole meal right there. But then he goes on a dinner date and then he goes to the movies, and then he goes roller skating in the same night. So he ate a meal before going to dinner, eats dinner,
then goes to the movie theater where he's probably going to eat like popcorn, candy, soda. Maybe he's going to have more glizzies in there too. And then he goes from there. He comes home. Aaron, there's some ham, potatoes, and peas on the plate in the refrigerator for you in case you're hungry when you get home from your date. Leave me a note to let you know you're on a date. I'll let you sleep in tomorrow. If you don't leave me a note, then I'm going to wake you up so that I can find out and hear about it. I love you, Mom. So he eats another meal once he gets home. So that's like what, 3, maybe 4 meals that he had in the time that someone eats one dinner. So yeah, that shit sucks. Well, anyways, we had Aaron dating Brooke at this part. They had their like weird thing go on. Um, it's very it's a very weird thing going on here. His mom is like obsessed with his date or whatever. So, it's gonna be how like, oh, now you're gonna get some grandbabies type thing. So let's see. We're at the part when Aaron woke up at 8 o'clock in the next morning to the smell of his mom cooking sausage, biscuits, and gravy for breakfast. He heard the sound of the coffee pot brewing a fresh, hot pot of coffee. He slowly sat up inside his bed and rubbed the sleep from his eyes, and looked around the room for his clothes. After sliding on his pants, slipping out the slippers, he pulled a clean t-shirt from his dresser drawer, threw it on over himself, and went to the kitchen where he greeted his mother with a kiss on the cheek with a polite, "Good morning." "Why a smirk on your face? I'm guessing that you like this girl," his mother asked, with a "you can't hide your feelings" look on her face. "Yeah, I like her a lot," he replied to his smile to his mother's remark. "Well then, tell me about her." And it's like that type of shit going on. And there's more coffee pot talk. It's just like the whole thing that is like this mom is like overly invested in this. I mean, I guess I could kind of see it happening. Like, if you're like some teenager or whatever, and you're like on your first date or whatever, your parents probably be like invested in it. It's not like it's not something that's like unusual, but it's like taken to another level, I guess you could say. Um, let's see. Oh, here we go. You get to see him meet his relatives. He hangs out with Blake. He's, I guess, his nephew. Kelly is his sister. Josh is his brother-in-law. And it's he's playing he's playing catch with his nephew and stuff in the driveway, while his sister meanwhile has to cook for everyone, and she's got some baby running around without like a diaper, and it's just you know it's just like so weird. It's just like stereotypical almost, like some very old like stereotypes of the woman does like all the housework type thing. It's just pretty weird. Pretty weird, I'd say. Uh, Oh, let's see. I wonder. Oh, okay, let's see what they're having. Ham, baked potatoes, and corn on the cob. I don't understand Lauren's thing with ham. I think ham is pretty gross usually. The only way I would really eat it is if it's like the really thin slice, like kind of caramelized honey ham they have on Thanksgiving. And even at that, I'm really not into it. Like, I mean, like bacon stuff like that's pretty good, but like just ham is just fucking gross. I don't know why. I don't know why Aaron has such a thing for it, or Lauren has such a thing for it. So I mean, I guess the purpose of these chapters, they're trying to show Aaron living like a normal, like mundane life, kind of showing everything he had, and everything he's about to lose because he's gonna go insane and start becoming a psychopath. So, you know, if if Lauren had better writing skills, it could actually be it could be done well. But the way he does it is just very boring. It's very boring and mundane, you know. Um, so there's that. Chapter 7. Like this like where things get a little spicy here. His mom is sitting on the couch watching TV with a bowl of popcorn and a cup of tea. Who drinks tea with popcorn? Like, I don't. It's just such a weird thing. And you know, just talks to him about. It's weird too because before this and after this, you wouldn't think he had any siblings. His mom, you know, is always focused on him and his family, but you never hear about really Kelly or Brady or any of them. To be honest, you don't hear about his father, so you kind of think it's him and his mom and no one else. For that's kind of how it's portrayed for most of the book. Let's see, oh, here's another thing right here. I want to get up early and go and surprise Brady. Don't worry about making any breakfast for me. I'll grab something at McDonald's. Good night. So, um, that's something I want to know. What did Aaron get at McDonald's? He told us about all the other food he ate. Talked about all the breakfasts his mom makes him, about the ham and mashed potatoes and corn on the cob and spare ribs and peas. What did he get at McDonald's? Did he perhaps get a bacon or a sausage McGriddle? Knowing Lauren, he probably got the big breakfast with hotcakes. Or did he get like an egg McMuffin? Did he have it with a Coke, coffee, orange juice? You know, knowing Aaron, he probably had all three. Like, what, you know, I don't care about this other shit. I want to know what Aaron's having for food. That's all we want to. That's what we want to hear about. I want to hear about him sleeping and eating, because we're talking about our Snorlax serial killer here. So, very important details that Lauren admitted for some reason. I don't fucking know. Also, he drove over to surprise his little brother. He stayed over for a few hours visiting and catching up on things with him, and then went back home. He okay, that's okay. So that's another thing too. So we had all this pages worth of stuff about him talking to his sister Kelly, and he meet his brother-in-law, his nephews. So his sister's more fleshed out. His brother-in-law is more fleshed out than his actual brother. And then you see his brother is younger than him. So it's not like Aaron's the youngest, as you might think he is. So, but there's no mention of a father or if they have different dads or whatever. No mention of that. So that's kind of peculiar. No definition or anything given to Brady. You don't know anything about him except that he has a girlfriend. So if Aaron is supposed to be 19 to 20 years old at this time, and his brother is younger, he'd probably be like 18 or something, or maybe younger than that. So why is his brother not living with his mom? He's living on his own, but Aaron is living with his mom. Like, doesn't that come off kind of weird? I think it's kind of established his sister must be somewhat older than them because she's married, has a son that's probably like 5 to 8 years old. It's not really explained that she has a baby. So she has 2 kids. One of them's a child and one's a baby. So, she's probably got maybe like, I don't know how many years she'd have on him. But she sounds like she might be closer to her 30s or so, right? And Aaron is basically like 20 at the time. He has a younger brother who's a teenager. So he's a teenager, but he doesn't live with his parents. Does he live with his dad? That is not described. I don't know, man. I can't think, especially from where I'm from, I can't think of a teenager that can actually like be able to live on their own. You won't be making enough money to do that. So, it's just kind of weird. Kind of caught me for a loop there. Very, very, very small segment there. And it goes to him talking about Brooke again. He's dating Brooke and he started dating, doing whatever. They had like the rollerblade thing. Oh, what's this? The smell of ham, eggs, and coffee drifting across his nose. Comes in the kitchen with slippered feet. He greets his mom with a drowsy good morning. That's another thing. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird for me, but I don't know. My routine: I wake up, shower, get dressed, and ready. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, shave, whatever. And then I'll go make like breakfast or something if I'm going to, or I just go straight to work or whatever. But it's like he wakes up dirty as fuck. Probably got like shit in his mouth and stuff from the night before, and then eats breakfast before he showers or cleans up or anything. Like, he's just a mess. And they talk about putting like a clean t-shirt on. Why are you gonna put on like clean clothes when you're not clean yourself? Like, go in your pajamas or whatever, get cleaned up, then put on new clothes. I don't fucking get it. I don't know, dude. Maybe I'm overthinking this. He does the stereotypical, you got lipstick smudges all over your lips. Could have helped my estimation a bit. Oh, I'm embarrassed. I forgot to wash my face. If you didn't wash anything, you got your lazy ass out of bed and started feasting on some ham, eggs, and coffee. Of course you're a mess, and your mom can just see your face is covered in. Because the way he describes Brooke, like, she's just like licking all over his face, like very little, just like all sloppy, down and dirty. So there's that. Another thing is too, they talked about them having made love before, but it wasn't described. And I guess the implication is that they were both like virgins or whatever. But it's not described until this one certain part right here. Where this is where things are interesting. I've never been more sure of anything in my life, she said. She led him to the bedroom. Once she turned the one dim light on that sat on her nightstand, she turned to his embrace and began exploring the inside of his mouth with her tongue again, finding each other getting more lost in the moment. The fires inside them began to grow hotter as they lost their clothes and climbed under the covers of the queen size bed. He slid his hand between her breasts and down to her navel, then gently back up and slowly brushed his thumb against her already hardened nipple. The contact mirror let out a heavy exhale as he traced the V in her neck with his tongue and began moving it toward her left breast. She memorized the form of the muscles in his back as she let his tongue and hands take the freedom of exploring her body. She moaned and he moved his hand to the core of her as his fingers thrust back and forth. Her heat grew and expelled a dampness between her thighs that she had never before experienced to this extent. Her body is crying out for his manhood with every pleasurable stroke his fingers made. He moved his fingers gently from her core and feathered them back up to her right nipple and pulled his body over the top of hers. He felt her heavy erotic breath on his face as erection grew, brushed her wet center, saw a gentle moan as he entered the body. Her moans grew into cries with every strong inward push. He threw her into the final cry, passionate release and satisfaction that came from them both. Aaron rolled over to relieve her body of his weight. She laid her head upon his chest, muttered, "I love you." Aaron returned, "I love you too," as she rested her hand on his right bicep and fell asleep for a night. So, to be fair, compared to most of Lauren's writing, this is pretty descriptive and almost got a poetic sense to it, I guess. It's just the one thing he's fucking got any interest in is the sex, the phone sex. But there's also some interesting parts to it. Um, most of it happened to be like him just like licking her nipples and fingering her vagina and stuff like that. And then he like pumps her twice, and it's just both nut. It's kind of how it's described. Like there's no like sense of like how long. Hey Lord, you're always telling us about how long it was. Why don't you tell us like the time and stuff like that? You could have given us like more visualization of her like female anatomy, or you could have even made like Aaron had the biggest, longest horse thing the world had ever seen. He had about 15 inches that he shoved and sticked inside of her. Some shit like that. This is very like not much really happened. You can say it's a little vanilla. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine, but you would think there'd been some sort of oral sex here. I mean, I guess he does kind of like do some cunnilingus, but you don't hear about Aaron getting any oral here. Just want to get oral. Aaron's being bald beaver hunter here. He just wanted to give her that oral. There's no talk about 69. You think someone like Aaron would be like, they 69 each other. She sat her fat ass on his face, and he breathed heavily of her anus as she sucked down his cock down to a very large drop. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Aaron would be a bit more descriptive and kind of have some shit like that going on. I was expecting a little bit more here, and it's probably not the first time Lauren's been told that. In this type of situation, that they're expecting a little bit more from Mr. Penis. Yeah, there's no Miss Vagina or Mr. Penis here. What the fuck, Lord? I want to hear about Miss Vagina and Mr. Penis, but we don't hear about them. And then, of course, they are engaged at this time. She's looking at her diamond ring. They have sex the next morning, but no description of that. As we'll see later in the book, besides this one part, I'll just say they made love. They made love. It's like, come on, Lauren, give us a little bit more than that, dude. What did they do this time? Did they do something a little bit different? Was she dressed up as a nurse? Um, was you know, was it like, I don't know, they get like a Batman suit and she's Catwoman or something? Like, give us some more details, Lauren. You know, it's good to have an imagination, but you're not even laying a foreground here. Like, how are we supposed to like visualize this shit? um, let's see. Generic phone talk. Oh, and of course, the plan the wedding. And this is where shit, this is where shit becomes very like stereotypical, like Hollywood movie type shit. Because mom and the girls, they all have to plan out the wedding, and the guys can't be around, so they have to just, do whatever as the girls do their thing. Let's see, like this part right here. Well, this means if we're gonna do all cooking tonight, do you trust me to cook while you take care of the baby? Aaron asked. Not hardly, Josh replied. We'll order pizza. Good choice. I'm afraid of my own cooking, much less than having my nephew or brother-in-law taking the risk with their lives eating it. Aaron returned. Josh laughed at Aaron's joke about his own ability to cook as he picked up the phone and dialed number to order the pizza. So yeah, there's that. There's another like weird stereotype that's like kind of ingrained. It's like how I put it. It's like a man isn't allowed to cook or something. It's got to be like bad. Only that's women's work. And people have like this perception that if you're a man that cooks, like you're effeminate or something like that. It's like, no, that's a fucking basic life skill. Um, that way, you know, say I had a wife or something, which I don't right now, but let's say I did, I wouldn't be dependent on her as a surrogate mother. I could take care of myself or her or the kids or whatever in that situation. I wouldn't be reliant on where's my food? Oh, I can't eat because I don't have any food ready for me. Like I could go, look up something, look up a recipe and make it. You know, it's a good skill to have. That's the other thing, Lauren. Use fucking seasoning, dude. It's very I can't imagine eating food without like spice. I like my stuff spicy, dude, like and flavorful. Like just eating bland shit is like horrible. I can't even imagine it. Um but we're talking about Lauren here. So it's like, I don't know, dude. It's hell funny because like I mentioned, Lauren Aaron can't cook. He's a bad cook because he's a guy, Guys can't cook. They need the wives to do it for them. Food, I don't know anything about food. That's what I have a woman here for. It's fucking stupid. But anyways, you got Aaron freaking out as he sleeps. Josh tells him he should see a doctor because he had nightmares. So because you have a nightmare, you should see a doctor. It's not just that you had a nightmare that, eventually people have once in a while. That's the whole thing is like, it's like everyone in this book knows Aaron has a serious problem. He's in a psychiatric ward for months, but then they like try to ignore it and just try to pretend that he's normal and try to make everything still normal. And this guy is like going insane by the second, but still trying to act like nothing's wrong. And that's why this shit just like spirals out of control. So yeah, there's that. It's pretty fucking funny. And okay, I missed this part right here because I was trying to find it when
Well, it looks like it's us guys at your house here tonight. My mom asked all the girls to stay the night there, so we're stuck here. Kelly says she'll call the kids to say goodnight before they go to sleep. That would figure, Josh retorted. Get women together for an event like this, and you can't separate them until the event is over. This is kind of like the idea like all women do is like go shopping and put on makeup, and then they get giddy over stupid shit like marriage, and like, oh, well, we need to plan the marriage, and we need to get everyone together, and we're gonna wear our pretty dresses and stuff like, like I kind of doubt that's really how it is. Like, at least I know the girl I'm with, like she's not like that. Like we talk we talk more together about the shit like Chris Chan and fucking stupid ass lol cows. Or like like we'll talk about weird shit and send offensive memes and stuff to each other. And that's kind of more like the conversations we get. Like I don't know anyone who's just like this is very similar to Chris Chan's idea of a woman, because like he's just like, oh, Rose Chu's in the mall. She's got the credit card. Sonichu, make sure she doesn't spend all my money on the credit card, because them girls. And it's like buying everything they see. And then Sonichu has to like run around after Rose Chu, make sure she doesn't buy the whole store. And then Rose Chu gets kidnapped by some Zapdos and what's his name? Nate Cirque before he becomes like anti Chris Chan or reverse Chris Chan, I'll say. Um, and Sonichu has to fight Zapdos. It doesn't make sense because they're both electric type Pokemon, which means they won't really damage each other with their own attacks. So it's just been like an endless stalemate. But you know, there you go. And the similarities between Chris and Lauren are fucking astounding. For one, like Lauren, Chris hates all men because he sees them as a threat and competition for him to get a boyfriend-free girl. And Lauren hates and fears men because he sees them as competition, that his woman's gonna want to cheat on him and stuff. He's like of the mindset that you can't have that men and women can't be friends without wanting to flock each other all the time. So, you know, is that type of archaic mentality that they both have, amongst a lot of other things too. I mean, one robbed the cradle, the other robbed the grave. But then again, Chris Chan has pedo tendencies as well. He just never got a chance to act on them. And talking about Chris, it's unfortunate. I feel terrible about what happened to his mother, but the writing was on the wall for a very long time. I mean, he told Megan Schroeder that if he didn't draw that porn of her, that he would have done something stupid that they would both regret. And he married fictional characters in his book that were teenagers, and he wrote stuff in his comic book about his character saying like a teenage girl wants to do the porn shoot with all the other female Sonichus. I'm like, oh well, you're too young. You can't do that because of dumb laws. He calls them dumb laws. I was like, but you can't be in our porn, but you could film our porn for us. So he's gonna, have a child film porn for like it's fucking terrible, but um, that's his type of mentality. And the fact that he's always groping women and stuff in public places and getting in trouble for it, it's like it's like is eventually gonna happen, unfortunately. So like I said, it probably would have been somebody else as the victim. And I believe his mother was the victim because she's the only person around him. She's a victim, not necessarily because it's what he wanted. Well, I mean, it was what he wanted, but it was like she's the most easily accessible victim.
and the fact that she had dementia and couldn't remember anything made her a very easy target in that sense because she'd forget everything. And because she'd forget everything, she wasn't able to talk to the police or something and, get him arrested for what the foul shit he had been doing. I just really want to tangent there, but as I'm gonna have to do a video that I'll talk about Lauren and Chris Chan because they are very, very similar. And the worst part was I used to be able to say, "Oh, well, Chris is the worst person than Lauren," but actually, Lauren is like not anywhere near as bad as Chris. I mean, Chris is a rapist. He is a pedo. Chris is a he's an attempted murderer. He's trying to kill Michael Snyder at least twice by running him over with his car. Um, he's just fucking unhinged. But then you're gonna have like the pronoun police trying to defend him and try to put him in women's prison so you could, put a fucking rapist in a women's prison. Like that makes a lot of sense, dude. Like, fuck off. Um, anyways, you got Aaron going through all this shit. Starts having his nightmares, starts acting stupid. Everyone's just like, "Oh, I'm very concerned about you, Aaron. Maybe you should get some help." And he doesn't want to get any help. Oh, right here. This is another thing. He's got pancakes. Brooke made him pancakes and coffee. Maple syrup. And the taste of the pancakes like heaven upon his tongue. He didn't think anyone would make them better than his mom, but Brooke proved him wrong about that. And he's like, "What's wrong?" He asks. "I want us to eat together, but you already finished yours," she explained disappointingly. "I'm sorry, honey. This is so good I couldn't stop after I took the first bite." "I'll forgive you this time," Brooke said, "but tomorrow don't touch it until I'm able to eat with you." Okay, Aaron smiled at her demand and finished drinking his coffee while she ate her pancakes. Like, that's so fucking corny, dude. That's like some shit. That's some shit on like a fucking Hallmark Christmas movie or some shit. Where it's like trying to be like family friendly comedy. Like, I couldn't help myself. I just had to eat those pancakes. I couldn't wait, 5 minutes for you to sit down or help you out, God forbid, help you finish and like do the dishes or something real quick before I stuff my fucking face and we'll eat together like what proper etiquette would prescribe. But of course fucking Aaron's got no manners. And this is something that I've been thinking about too. How does Brooke have a house? And don't let's not take this the wrong way or anything, but they're both like 20 years old. They said that she's 20. So, he probably just barely been working for a couple years, if anything. But it doesn't describe her having a job, having any job at all. So there's no source of income to derive from. And she apparently doesn't have any family either. You don't hear about her mom, dad, siblings, grandparents, uncles, aunts, whatever. So, where she get did they all die and she got like an inheritance or something? Like, 'cause that's the only thing I can think of, really, because fuck. I'm talking from my own experience here, but like rent's like almost $3,000 a month where I'm from. Uh, you know, I have to have roommates to just get by every month. So, basically like my relatives have become my roommates and we all like chip in towards rent and food and utilities and stuff like that. Bills. Otherwise, like the worst part is like I actually make a decent wage and stuff. If I was anywhere else, I'd be living pretty good with the type of money I make. But California sucks dick and like everyone's just fucking poor here because of all these hypocrite politicians that basically want everybody to be fucking poor and they act like they're like some activists and they're like some holier than thou um, type of individual while they sit on the armchair being fucking like armchair communists and shit. Um, but yeah, how does Brooke have a house? It perplexes me. So Aaron goes from leeching onto his mother, which I mean, to be fair, at his age and stuff, and the fact that he just came out of the military, he doesn't really have anywhere to go. So I'm not exactly like ripping into him over that. But the fact that he's not working, he's not paying rent, he's not helping his mom with anything, like really irks me. There's no description of him helping her with anything. It talks about his mom working, so his mom has to work to provide for him and give him a place to stay. So he's basically just a leech. And then he winds up moving in with Brooke. And Brooke, apparently doesn't have a job or source of income. So this is like a really bad idea. He got her pregnant. So I don't know, just like these little things it bothers me. It bothers me. So he has some orange juice and some coffee. More lovey-dovey type talk. Oh yeah, they make the nursery, right? So his mother makes him build a nursery and shit. He starts doing it. He starts tearing apart the stuff. And where is it? But there's a part that says his mom brought him Burger King. But I'm not seeing it right here. But yeah, there's a part that's like mom brings some Burger King. But it didn't say what she got him. Did he get chicken fries? How about some onion rings and barbecue sauce? Did he have a nasty ass Whopper? Like, what did he get at Burger King? I kind of need to know. Why aren't you telling us, Lauren? It's very important information. Stereotypically, Aaron gets sick because of his nerves, and she's sick because she's got morning sickness from being pregnant. And then Aaron's like acts a fool because it's just so beautiful in her dress that it's like something straight out of a Hallmark movie. And you hear about Derek. Derek is his best man here, but you don't hear about her family at all. You hear about Blake. So his nephew brings him the ring. They kiss. It's just like, it's just very like, what? So it's basically like Brooke has no family, I guess, and his mom and stuff winds up becoming her family. I suppose. It's really fucking weird. And of course, she starts, her water breaks. He has to go take it to the hospital. Oh yeah, it's funny too. They didn't choose a name for it if it was a boy or a girl or anything like that. So they had like no preparation. So how they make the nursery then when they made it? Like, what color did they paint this shit? Was it blue or pink or what? Like, what was the nursery built for? I know they wind up having a son, but it doesn't really show any of that. His mom knits a baby outfit for the baby the moment it comes out. It has it done in the same night. Like, actually, like my mom and my grandma both knit, and my mom does all these other crafts and stuff like that too. And actually, when I was a kid, I like learned to knit a little bit of crochet. But they're like, they're fascinated. But I have never seen anyone able to knit that fast that they can make an entire baby jumper in one night. Like, what the fuck is this, Lauren? Is that her superpower? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Save my cigar. The doctor said jokingly, I'll smoke it when my shift's over. Like, what is this, dude? Talk about their Danish and their coffee and all this stuff. Their mom comes over and helps them raise the baby because you can't do it on their own.
Her mom has to give them constant advice because they don't know how to take care of a baby, of course. Um, Brooke is doing like all the work, and Aaron's like sitting there slurping coffee the whole fucking time. Um, I'm trying to think of where the fuck it is. It's really stupid. So disrespectful to the army and everyone really. Yeah, dude. I have to agree. Like I said, I haven't been in the military. I can't say from any personal experience, but I really doubt. Okay. Let me ask you. I really doubt that the your sergeant's gonna just let you sleep in, and is gonna baby you all the time. Oh, you're not a vet, but it's all fantasy. Yeah, you're right. It's all fantasy. Babies you all the time, and like just kind of sit around doing really nothing while they're in the army. Plus, men don't speak like this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The type of shit they say to each other is like, get up, lazy bones, and stuff like that. Oh, you interrupted my much needed rest. Like, fuck talks like that. It's hella fucking funny, though. I mean, it's this book, it's like, it could have had a lot of potential if someone else did something with it. Taping off an area after 5 minutes shit out looking for a body. It's like instead they just do a bunch of weird odd jobs. I talked about how the terrorist just like stops in front of their armored vehicle and blows himself up for no fucking reason. Like what was that about? Was he just trying to like give them some shock value or something? Because if he's like standing 30 feet away from the car or whatever, and then in an armored military grade vehicle, he's got some cheap explosive, like sure it'll blow him up. It'll probably damage a regular car or something, but it's probably not going to do much to an armored vehicle. I think that's like military grade. Like they didn't do anything to the characters. All four of them were perfectly fine. And then there's like this one time there's an explosion while they're in the armored vehicle, and it made one guy deaf, but nothing happened to anyone else. You're now only four people for some reason. No QRF, no support, uh, no jobs or ranks, and yes, they shot away from them. Apparently, no military lingo. Well, that's another thing too. It's like the only position he knows is staff sergeant. Like you don't hear anyone being a private or a corporal or general or lieutenant or um anything really. Like everyone that is mentioned is their staff sergeant Watkins, staff sergeant Buchanan, staff sergeant Paul Pablo. Like everyone's just a staff sergeant, dude. Like I don't fucking get it. It's so much weird shit. Hospital in the war zone. Calling a hospital. Where's a medic? Where's a quarterman? Yeah, that's right. Why isn't there a medic? Um, he just takes them to a regular hospital too. Like you think they're in a war zone. They'd have like a tent or something where they have or a med bay, right? Like a sick bay where they have like the injured troops that the medics and stuff would like uh try to take care of. Um, or another thing is too, it doesn't a sniper rifle that could like shoot through a car if I'm not mistaken. And Paul's shot in the chest with a sniper rifle, not wearing his bulletproof vest, and it takes him like forever to die. Like he's having full on conversations with Aaron. and and even Aaron like it's like 2 10-year-olds got sent overseas in some weird comedy. They're possibly gay mama boys. You know that's precise. That's something I was talking about too. Is I know that's kind of homoerotic, all the stuff between Aaron and Paul, but it's honestly like Paul is like he has no friend, no girlfriend, family, friends, etc. We're talking about Paul, right? Because Aaron has like Derek, and eventually gets Brooke, but it's like Paul was like Aaron's surrogate mother. Like Aaron Lauren's the victim of everything as usual. Yep, of course. That's how it has to be. Well, it's like, he had his mom. He sees the secretary who has like the most character definition out of everyone. And even says that like, let's see, chapter 1. Scroll up here. So her name's Helen, right? Right here says she's an older woman, probably in her late 40s or early 50s, a little on the heavy side, with brown curly hair that came down to her shoulders, and wore wide rimmed glasses with a gold chain that dangled from her the sides of her glasses and wrapped around the back of her neck. She had a mother's air about her and greeted him with a warm, welcoming smile. So it's like the secretary Helen, who has the most description, and honestly sounds like some of the porn stars I used to like. She is like a mother to him too. Like he's in the Air Force, he could have written this. He ran his own experiences and exaggerated, and why yes is the only character description someone we never see again. Yeah, a character description for someone that's like got 2 sentences worth of dialogue you never see again. And she's like got the most vivid character description. Like she's the only one that like actually like you have a picture painted in your mind's eye about. Um, like I said, the way Aaron acts, he might as well be like a fucking Snorlax or something. Makes a point to notice her weight. Well, yeah, you see, like she's a little bit overweight, so that makes her more motherly like. Because she'd be skinny or something if she's like young, I guess. I don't fucking know. That's fucking Lauren logic here. um but yeah, she was like a mother to him. Paul is like his mom away from home. Like he basically babies the fuck out of like people back at home with dead end jobs. Who are you to judge? Yeah, exactly, dude. That's something I was talking about earlier. They're 18, fresh out of high school. His friends are like got jobs and are like going to college and stuff. That's not a dead end job. That's like a stepping stone job. Dead end jobs like somewhere you've been for years and you can't get anywhere. You can't get any progress at and stuff like that. Like their lives have just barely begun, dude. And you talking about them like they're a bunch of fucking losers. Meanwhile, you have to have someone like wipe your ass everywhere you go. you know. So far we've had Mom, Helen, Paul, and then Brooke winds up becoming yet another mother for Aaron. Combat has a 9 to 5 job, basically the weekends off. He's complaining about his feet hurting and getting off of work. Exactly, dude. I think Combat would just be like a nonstop, like, you're not catching a break, dude. Like I would think like maybe if you're getting any sleep, you're like taking shifts because you have to worry about someone trying to kill you in your sleep and stuff like that. Like, I think it'd be very hectic, very like this one. It sounds like he's just directing traffic. And just happened to get shot while directing traffic. But yeah, Brooke is like his mom. No basic training information, no sense whatsoever. Yep. Oh, that's something like earlier when they get shot at. Paul's like, there's apparently 2 concrete barriers to the left and the right, and then their armored vehicle. So rather than say Aaron go left, Gentry go right, Baker go right, and then Hillman Gentry go in the center, he's just like, Aaron, get to the concrete barrier to the left side of the building and take cover and pull out your M16 and make sure it's loaded and undo the safety and take aim and fire at the enemy or some shit like that. Like it's something very long. And then he says that to Baker too. And it's like, hi, if you're getting in a firefight with all these people shooting at you, how do you have enough time to make such a long statement like that, dude? Like what the fuck is going on here?
They go to police station and say we're here to help. Park right next to it in the war zone. Yeah, I don't get it. It's supposed to like train police and be like um it's almost like they're crossing guards. It's like they're like it's crossing guards for like a elementary school or some shit. Directing traffic. Like what the fuck is that? He took something that's like could have been very intense. You know, something that's like very intense and horrific and you know, all the stuff that you could apply to war and made it super mundane and boring. Like his talking about coffee and ham and stuff is more detailed. IEDs everywhere, but yeah, he seems to think bombs go off everywhere 24/7 at the base. It's always the base. Oh yeah, dude. So there's all this shit going on, man. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy. Like here we have his here he have his has his wife, just had a son. Coffee and food. How many times of coffee and sleep is mentioned? Is where his weird smiles and stuff. I would argue coffee is the main character of this book. It's got the most description. It's got the most character development. You know, you'll hear about the piping hot cup of coffee that's now starting to turn cold because it's been sitting out for too long. That's more than you hear about like any of the characters, dude. Um, and talk about the food, like it's always talking about the food. You know, just constantly eating and sleeping. That's why I say he's like a fucking Snorlax. Even when he's trying to kill people, he still falls asleep. Like how lethargic is fucking Aaron, dude? He tries to kill Amber and then he tries to kill Brooke. He passes out both times. I get that he got stabbed or whatever, but like he just like passes out. They think he's dead, walk away, and he comes back and kills them. With the exception of Brooke. But yeah, I hear Brooke is a new mother. She has a baby. It's Lauren Coffee 24/7. People taking care of him, wiping his ass, hearing nothing of his time in the psych hospital. Yes. So actually, I'm working on an illustrated version of this book. And for my version, I had him that he's like in a padded cell and they're giving him like shock therapy and lobotomies and shit on a daily basis, you know, just kind of like just kind of like all the ridiculous shit that you used to hear about like mental institutions doing. And Lord, a new father's not even around for his new son he claims to love so much. Yeah, it'll be like one time that he picks up the baby and like looks at him or something. Oh gee, that'd be incredible. so, so the thing that I drew him that he like sees Paul. So far, I'm like 5 chapters in. He sees Paul get killed, and it shows him kind of like losing it. That he's like just killing like random like terrorists and civilians and stuff. And then he sees mom and look after your new baby, go get some rest. Of course, moms always do that, right? Um, and then he sees the kids blow up and they drag him off and throw him into a mental institution where they're basically torturing him every day. He comes out all fucked up. But people are trying to like ignore the fact that he's fucked up and act like he's normal. So far, I'm only 5 chapters in. Because it's just kind of hard to go through all. It's kind of hard to figure out what's actually going on sometimes because of the way this is written. He talks about killing the enemy. We hear none of it. Yeah, it's only one sentence. One fucking passing sentence. And he says he killed the enemy and didn't feel anything. He saw his comrades be killed. That he grew numb to the combat. And it's like, well, where was any of this? Before all this, all we heard about was that he was like some bumbling idiot and everyone around him was dying. He just happens to see everyone around him die and starts crying about it. You know, it's fucking crazy, dude. But yeah, you know, here Brooke has a newborn baby, but she's has to take care of his dumbass. And he got such a weird job too. He's a welder or wait, a mechanic. I think he's a mechanic for a school bus. This is worse than I thought it would be. He still walked away with no close calls or injuries. Well, is that they shot? Well, actually, when he went to save Paul, they shot at him twice, but it's just they happened to miss both times. Like they shot Paul no problem, and they happened to miss Aaron both times they shoot at him. So there's that. Uh, so yeah, there's all this going on. Sleeping in his bed, yeah, that's another thing. He slept in his bed, and then Staff Sergeant Buchanan says, "Hey, we're sending Paul's personal belongings to his family. Could you please gather his personal belongings?" And then Aaron steals a fucking photograph of him. What a fucking asshole! I'm sure his family would like to have that photograph, Aaron. Like, what's wrong with you? Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to make of that. I think other people in the company will say, "What the fuck? That's so disrespectful." Yeah, exactly. Like he took something that's his family's property, basically, and then you're sleeping in his bed when he's dead. Like that's so fucking weird. Well, actually, to be fair, he did try to sleep in Paul's bed from the beginning because he tried to take the bottom bunk, and the Paul's like, "Hey, that's mine," and made him sleep up top. So I guess he's just waiting for Paul to die to take his bed the whole time. Like he did a fucking hermit crab move there and took his bed. He set up that assassination. That's what really happened. Is Aaron paid some Taliban to take the sniper rifle and shoot him. Only he suffered. He had no family or girl, just like Brooke, spelled wrong, and had no family or friends. LOL. Yeah, well, that's something I was talking about earlier. So out of nowhere, it mentions he has a sister named Kelly, and he has a brother-in-law named Josh, a nephew named Blake, I think, and one named Hayden, and he has a younger brother named Brady. So you hear about his sister and his cousin and stuff. But yeah, when you hear them, it's the first time. Like, there's like a whole paragraph or something. Like, he's hanging out, he's playing catch with his nephew. He hangs out with his brother-in-law. His sister makes them dinner and stuff like that. Of course. Yes, you get brother. However, Aaron is living at home like a 5-year-old. That's another thing I was talking about. So Aaron's supposed to be like 19 or 20 at the time. Brady is described as being his younger brother. So yeah, no, not catch, pass, whatever that is, pass. Yeah, I was thinking what the fuck is pass supposed to be. But you hear about Brady in a very passing sentence. But what it mentions about him is that the females hound the kids in dinner. Yeah, that's women's work, okay? Women cook and handle the babies. The men go outside and play pass with the baseball. But he talks about his brother, and his brother has a girlfriend. But the one thing he mentions is that his brother is younger than him. So this whole time you think that Aaron was the youngest. So he's not the youngest. And the fact that he's like around 19 or 20 would mean that his brother at the oldest probably be like 18. That's probably like 17 or so. But he lives on his own. He doesn't live with his mom. He's a teenager, but he's not living with his parents. And so that makes me wonder, his younger brother is doing better. Yeah, you're right. His younger brother's already out of the house and has like his own life going on. But it makes me wonder, like, you don't hear about the dad or anything. So do they have different dads? Does his brother live with his dad? Is his dad dead? Is his dad leave? And a grown man is getting married playing Hungry Hungry Hippos. Well, to be fair, he's playing that with his nephew. But yeah, he did get me pretty pissed off, and he's the Hungry Hippo game. He called Hungry Hungry Hippos the Hungry Hippo game. Like, in context, it makes sense because he's with his brother-in-law playing with his nephew,
and he's got like another nephew, so it makes sense. He's playing with a little kid, um, but it's also like you hear about Brady and stuff. You're like, because it's something that's just mentioned so like out of nowhere with no context or anything, and it's not mentioned again. So I'm just thinking, where does this go from? How old is his brother? His brother's like a teenager, but he lives on his own. Why doesn't his mom like care about? Like his mom doesn't really talk about his sister or his brother. The mother has some weird thoughts of Lauren's future wife and sends them to have fun while the females plan their weddings. Oh, his mom's just like, when you gonna give me some grandkids? That's another thing. His mom's probably like 40 years old or something. Lauren makes it sound like she's hella old, but she's probably like in her 40s. She's probably not that old, dude. But then again, I'm kind of wondering like, how much older is his sister? Because his sister has like a 5. Well, actually, it sounds more like an 8-year-old and a baby. So she's probably like what, 28 to 30 or something. I'm thinking. There's really no timeline given. But his mom is like no diaper. Remember that? Yeah, he's just walking around with his ass hanging out, pissing and shitty. Like his mom could be like in her 40s or 50s or whatever. Who knows? Maybe she's like a MILF. Some fucking pog MILF. Not a good look to write when you're sex something. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, he's a baby boy. Lauren hates men, remember? He hates he hates boys. His like greatest competition happened to be a 12-year-old Derek and a 10-year-old doctor's nephew, because he thought Ramona was gonna fuck the doctor's 10-year-old nephew. So he's mad that she's gonna babysit him. It's just fucking weird though. And that's another thing. Brooke doesn't have any family. She doesn't have a dad, mom, siblings. Wasn't there a cousin as well? I don't remember if there's a cousin. I'm not really sure. I know he has 2 nephews, a brother and a sister. Oh, with Ramona. Yeah, she had a cousin. Yeah, she had a male cousin and a female cousin. He started bitching about that she went with the male cousin instead and acted like she was gonna fuck her cousin. And she's just like, dude, what the fuck, Lauren? Like, I'm related to him. We're not gonna. He's like, you had to bring other guys. Why couldn't it have been a girl? And it's like, and JA couldn't have a male driver. JA. Who's JA? I think I know this, but it's something that's slipping my head right now. Oh, Jamie Amy the robot. Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, actually I'm kind of pissed right now because I did a drawing for my red. I put on my Redbubble, and is one of the fembots from Futurama as Jamie Amy, and like Sheffrey and Rod. So I drew like an older version of Rod from Simpsons, and it's like a half naked Lauren like raging, and I wrote the words "Rage Against the Machine" on it. A fucking Rage Against the Machine when copyright struck my shit and got it taken down. I ain't use their fucking logo or anything. You know what? Fuck Rage Against the Machine, dude. You guys always try to talk about like corporate greed and shit, and you guys are the epitome of that shit. Talk about how bad politics are and stuff, but when someone reps their colors, they don't give a shit. Even those, oh, I love the Rage Against the Machine references. That's the whole thing. Like, they act like a fucking dick and got my shit taken down. I'm pissed off about it. It's like, dude, you try to have like this whole message like you're anti-corporate and anti-establishment. Apparently, you're fucking not. Virgin Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, maybe I might do an edit and just like change the words on it and repost it because like fuck that, dude. I was trying to make stickers, now I can't. It's like someone copyright struck my drawing of Lauren as the son of Cod. I like how the fuck you gonna copyright strike something that is all my own original character design? It's like fuck you. You don't have any copyright claim here, you son of a bitch. So someone did that too because I did one about Ramona pimping out Lauren to Emma, and Emma's got him like on a chain, like a dog, walking him around, saying that she's gonna make him eat her Mexican asshole. And someone copyright struck that shit. I wonder if it's Amber. She didn't like that too much. um. Okay, I'm getting really sidetracked here, but oh yeah, here's the. Oh yeah, Slothcat. Yeah, I like his stuff a lot. I was actually talking with him about some of this stuff because I saw the Dan fight, and he made Dan like Macho Man, and he had a Hulk like Hollywood Hulk Hogan for Lauren, and it's fucking weird because I drew Lauren like that before that. Yeah, Emma doing a line. I had Lauren because I had drawn some DMAC comics, and it's like DMAC's Wrestling League, and DMAC is like Jerry Lawler and Vincent Ambrosio's The Undertaker, and so on and so forth. Um, Jim Roush is like Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he's Swingers Club Jim Roush, and Lauren is like Hulk Hogan, right? You know, he's like 80s Hulk Hogan, but when he makes his heel turn, he becomes Nashville. He becomes Nashville Lauren Armstrong, and he wears like the black lightning pants with like the feather boa and shit. D-Mac. I bet D-Mac passed his class by now. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe. I could just see D-Mac being like, you see, like the man in the house told me I was free to leave. Why am I under arrest? Explain that shit to me. Like, no, dude, stop fucking lying. Chris Hansen said you can walk out the house. He didn't say you're not under arrest. He said I'm not going to arrest you because he's not a police officer. Because he can't arrest you. He's not a police officer. Someone else will. Or what else? He like, I'm just being honest. And he lied about absolutely everything. You see this MILF? She want me to fuck her and her daughter at the Skip Tracer's vid. Patterson sued NBC, almost identical Lawrence. Oh, I think Lauren and Patterson actually discussed suing NBC together, if I'm not mistaken, because Lawrence talked about Michael Patterson before. Like, I guess they were cellmates or something when they were in jail before they got to prison. So I think he might have done that together. And that's probably why it's so similar. But yeah, that shit got me hella laughing, though. Let's see. Thinking up names for their son. Let's see. Yeah, they already had their baby. Mom's intruding at every possible moment. I like to know if Patterson would give us insight for us into Lauren and would agree to take some of his vids down, but he seems insane. You know, I haven't really kept up with anything Patterson too much. I like keeping up with the funny shit. Like Jim Roush is one of my favorites because he reminds me of Wilford Brimley, and I love Wilford Brimley. I was just like, man, Jim Roush, if you didn't do this foul shit, you'd be a cool guy because you're highly entertaining. I love his fucking stories. Like, I just get, you know, hearing about the Swingers Club and all that stuff is just like very fascinating to me. They meet up after all these years. Joey dropped a vid recently. I have to check that out. D-Mac, the whole Razor thing is funny. Jeff Stacy, the Mickey Mouse voice is fucking classic. His suicidal tendencies is classic. So very funny. Michael Walker, the Dracula bullshit, like we all have our fetishes, and the fact that he looks like a thick Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. but he agreed. Went to Maine and said, "How are you doing?" To Lauren, wait, what? With video for his live feed, how funny would that be? That would be pretty fucking funny. They go to the 10-mile yard sale. But like, I'll be honest, like, let's say people like Jay Raffner, like, I fucking hate Jay Raffner, dude. That guy is like the epitome of a fucking cunt. Everything about him is like someone I would fucking hate in real life. And the fact he got off basically scot-free. I may go to, yeah, me Rocket as well. He's probably my most hated. I'm not gonna lie, and it's weird because there's, I mean, there's people who are like, if we're gonna talk about like the worst people they caught, definitely Hamburger, Chuck Harding. Like Chuck Harding was doing human trafficking. Donald Morrison, you know, all these guys, you know, they're objectively worse. But just someone like Meat Rocket is just such a fucking cunt. I just hate this guy. Like, he's somebody that I would inflict violence upon if I saw in real life. Like, if I saw Chris Chan in real life, I would inflict violence upon him. You know, I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know, like it's just like, I don't know if you compare them to other people, like they're all bad. But there's definitely degrees of bad. Like Lauren, you know, Lauren's a piece of shit, but he's also highly entertaining, very hilarious. And you see him, he's just kind of like very childish and stupid with it. And then you see somebody like Hamburger, like who raped his own daughters and shit like that. It's just like, ugh. You know, that's just like a whole nother level of fucked up. Getting really sidetracked here. I'm just gonna skip to chapter 9. This is when Aaron starts going crazy. So, okay, here's something I was actually talking to Cybersqueak about. So, Aaron decides to go hunting. You know, he starts having this whole psychiatrist meltdown, right? He decides to go hunting, and they know that he's mentally unstable. So why are you going to give the mentally unstable guy... Sorry, his book is ridiculous. His BS in the murder makes no sense. Actually, you know, this is something I heard about the book, and I can totally fucking imagine it. Let's say like chapters 1 through 9 or whatever is basically just Aaron writing out his ass, right? That's why everything you hear about is coffee, mom, pot pie, stuff like that. But when he becomes a serial killer, I heard that his cellmates helped him write that. Wasn't hunting season either time didn't make sense as well. Yep, there's that too. But I heard his cellmates helped him write it. Like towards the end with the serial killer shit. And if you see, there's a tonal shift in everything. It becomes way more descriptive. Like Aaron is like a complete psychopath. He kills a deer. Like the first thing that happens is he kills a deer, and he feels satisfaction from it. When he talks about killing people, is like super graphic and stuff. So I can just imagine his fucking cellmates like being like, "Hey Lord, you know what if he takes like a fucking tire iron to his motherfucker's head? And he starts bashing his fucking head in until he's fucking dead." Or he'd be like, "Hey Lord, what if he takes this one bitch?" I don't want to take credit because someone did a whole timeline. This is how. Oh yeah, I've heard about that before. But I just imagine somebody be like, "Hey Aaron, what? Hey Lauren, what if Aaron finds this like this bitch? He fucking puts her in his car and stuff and makes her watch as he digs her own grave, and when he kills her, he strangles her and watches the life go out of her eyes." It's like, oh yeah, he did treat the. Okay, so that's something I was gonna I talk to people about as well. When it comes to the male victims, he always catches them like off guard, and basically kills them when they're defenseless, right? And like when he killed the female victim, it's a lot more like a horror thing. They made her watch her. Yeah, she pities him, right? That's the thing that got me. She pities him, but like he made her watch him dig her grave and shit, right? But something I noticed too is with the female victims, they put up a fight. Amber stabs Aaron and wounds him. She also like bashed his head in too. Classify her as the enemy either. Right? The enemy. um, so she hit him in the head and stabbed him, like between his ribs and shit. Right? And then when he fights Brooke, and this one's kind of surprising too, Brooke manages to stab him. She bashes his head in with a brass lamp, and then she shoots him and kills him. So that was a little surprising. Like, credit to Lauren on that. I was expecting some shit like he kills Brooke and then realizes what he's done and commits suicide or some shit like that, right? Yeah, I'm getting that from that woman that caused him so much pain, and if they just got to know him, they would care about his weird psych. Maybe. I almost feel like a lot of this has to do with like, because he sees men as threats, and he sees them as competition for him. So like he just takes them out as quickly as he could, and he takes them out in ways that they're defenseless, and he can't really put up a fight. For example, like he shot a random guy, and when the guy is like, "Oh, please help me," then he cuts his throat. The other guy he kills, he runs him off the road. Like, he stalks him, and when he's not expecting it, he runs him off the road. His car crashes down the side. He crawls out, basically helpless. And while he's there, Aaron's waiting for him with a tire iron and bashes his head in. Sorry, our session just decided to stop working again. So that's twice already today that the shit just decides to fucking stop, right? So that really interrupted a pretty good discussion we were having here. But yeah, when it came to the male victims, he just kind of like instantly kills them. They're in defensive situations. Like, he goes to the therapist, he's waiting for him in the dark and just guts them. Right? But like in the situation with Amber and Brooke, it was more like creepy, but it's also like they were in a position that they could fight back, and they did fight back. So that's something that's kind of peculiar to me with this as well. To avoid copyright, I'm glad this book. You know what? Since we're all having problems with this right now, I'll just probably end the stream, and I'll do like a part 2 for it.